All right, hey everybody, we have just concluded our attempt to learn more about what's going on at the National Rifle Association by attending the fall board meeting. We're here in Herndon, Virginia. The meeting did just adjourn maybe half an hour ago or so. We've been talking with some of the directors and some of the other people who are attending, some of the other members and the media who's here as well. If you don't recognize this guy, this is Frank Tait. Frank is running for the NRA Board of Directors. He wants to get on the ballot. He's collecting signatures from voting eligible NRA members now. You're over 1,000, you said, and that's well along the way to where he needs to be to get onto the ballot. He's obviously not going through the nominating committee because he is running on a reform platform and is very much aligned with the things that we're interested in seeing change with the NRA at Save the Second. So Frank, elevator pitch.
Thanks, Rob. So I'm a benefactor life member. I am an NRA training counselor. I've trained hundreds of instructors and thousands of students. I recently retired from my day job. I've spent 37 years in the technology world, and of those 37 years, I spent 20 serving on the boards of directors as management on public companies up to about $750 million in revenue, nonprofit companies. I currently serve on 4 boards. I am the chair of a gun club. I'm the incoming chair. I'm the treasurer of one. I'm a trustee on another. So I understand how boards of directors work, and that what I look at with the NRA and why I put my name on the petition at the annual meeting is because I look at what's been going on, what's been coming out in the news, and I believe that we need greater transparency and accountability from the board. And I understand how to do that because I've been doing it for 20 years. The other thing that I look at is that when you look at the arc of an organization, the organization starts out focused on its members, it starts focused on its mission. And then organizations mature to the point that management starts to become self-perpetuating. And it's more about not solving the problem because you want to be able to continue to have your power and your funding. And then organizations then sometimes move into a position where a leader is perceived as the organization. And I think that's where the NRA is today. And it's the board's job to rebalance so that the board is focused on doing the business of the members through the leader. But it's the focus on what's most important, the members or the leader. And I think we need to get rebalanced so that we're focused on the members and doing what we need to do for the members.
All right, so having said all that, obviously we did just complete, our endeavor. Now we ended up out of the room for the better part of 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, while they did a working lunch and they were in executive session. Apparently there were some controversial things talked about, and there were some directors who spoke apparently very candidly and frankly about the problems inside the NRA and trying to resolve them, but we weren't privy to any of those conversations. We did, however, attend the first couple of hours of the board meeting, and what are your thoughts? How did what you saw this morning? You've been running now for 2 or 3 months since you announced you were running. Did anything change as far as what the things you just said, or how much of that solidify or evolve your opinion of what's going on at the board and what the NRA needs?
I think it solidified a few things. One is it was a highly scripted meeting. With 76 directors, it's ungovernable without a very tight script. The challenge with a tight script is that means there's a small group that's controlling everything. And so to me, one of the key messages of Save the Second, the board's too big, we need to shrink the size of the board. The second thing that we need to do is, we need term limits. You're seeing directors who have been here, Wayne's been there for 41 years. You need new blood. So when you have challenges, I think it's a famous Einstein quote, the thinking that got you into this situation is not going to get you out of it. You need new people with new thinking. So to me, I kind of expected but disappointed that all the ballots, all the signatures we got on the petition to put mandatory attendance in place got deferred. So
right.
It got deferred to the January meeting. But you need people to actually show up. You need a smaller board, and to me, you need term limits. And so that's why I'm on board with the Save the Second approach, because I think that's one of the ways that you get new blood in there, new thinking in there. The world is changing very fast. One of the things they talked about before they went into executive session is this rapid response war room, so that things like what Beto O'Rourke said about coming to confiscate AR-15s, the NRA is now responding to it. Things like the San Francisco claim that NRA is a terrorist organization, being able to respond to that. But to me, that's still a reactive mindset. And one of the big changes that I think still needs to happen is to move the NRA to a proactive mindset. So one of the things that I've been doing is going to our local politicians' town halls. I have the pleasure that I am in Congresswoman Scanlon's district. She's on the Judiciary Committee. She's the vice chair. She is pushing registration. She's pushing magazine limits. She's pushing assault weapon bans. And I challenge her to her face that where are you, and if you're talking about saving lives from firearm incidents, where is gun safety?
Right.
How come the NRA is not at this table? How come we're not doing gun safety, home firearm safety classes? I have secured funding from a foundation that will pay for 1,000 students to go through NRA home firearm safety. I offered that to Congresswoman Scanlon. I offered that to Congresswoman Dean, PA4 and PA5. I offered that to State Senator Williams in Pennsylvania. I offered it to my Rep Romira in Pennsylvania. I also offered it to my local township. Crickets. And so, this is one of the things I think the NRA has an opportunity to get a positive, safety-oriented message out there, because I think we're aligned. We don't want guns in the hands of criminals. We don't want guns in the hands of children who are not properly supervised. And we don't want guns in the hands of the clueless, and education solves those problems. And I think kind of at the core of the anti-mindset is they're afraid of guns, and education helps address this fear.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt that obviously my primary role, my career has been education, and a lot of times, even people who are gun people are afraid, maybe not emotionally, but intellectually uncomfortable or afraid of switching a technique or trying a new type of gun or thinking about a different tactic because this is how we've always done it. Well, think about it. If you've never done it, then you've got that natural human fear of the unknown, and it's very easy to demonize guns, especially when people are scared of active shooters or terrorism, whatever it is. So listen, I appreciate you sharing with Save the Second some of your thoughts on the board meeting and the Save the Second audience, letting them know that you are aligned with our position on reform. I think that's very important as you go ahead with trying to get on this board, because this board needs all the help it can get, and I'm more sure of that now than I was a few days ago. But I'll be doing a more thorough report on my thoughts, and some of the other Save the Second board members, Ron and Andy, are here as well, so they'll be sharing their thoughts also. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate it.